Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the Legendarium podcast. This is episode... Dang it. I actually wrote it down. 342. This is episode number 342.
Hey, look at us.
As far as I can tell. I don't hold me to that. I am Craig here, your host. Sitting next to me is Ryan. Hey, Ryan.
Hi.
Hey, Ryan. And over on the other side of the room, we got Ken.
Hey.
Todd.
Hello again.
Hello, everybody. So today is a very off-the-cuff episode because, frankly, while the lead up to this, I'm sure it was not off the cuff from his team. It felt very off the cuff to a lot of the Brandon Sanderson community.
It was abrupt.
There was an announcement of
the off the cuff?
4 secret novels.
The statement of, I've had a secret and I can no longer stand it.
So we're going to get to all that. So, but that's the bulk of what we're going to be talking about today is the Brandon Sanderson announcement. Kind of just, I don't know, shooting the something PG about it. Shooting the stuff. Sure, that works.
There's a phrase, shooting the breeze, we could use.
Hey, I like that one.
Yeah.
Did you just come up with that?
No, that's...
I think I heard that on Golden Girls once or twice. Yeah.
Wow.
So anyway, yeah, we've got
You're Rose.
This is why I've been telling people. So people come to me sometimes and say, "Hey, I want to start a podcast, and can you give me any advice? You've been doing it for years and years." And I always say 3 is the magic number. 3 panelists, because now that we've got all 4 of us in the room, and Ken and Todd sitting together, we're screwed. We are screwed.
That's us.
And I don't know how this hour is going to go. If it goes for an hour.
Fast.
Long. See, we're in such sync automatically.
So, okay, guys, give me just a second, okay? Just please. Get Ken? Yes.
got nothing,
Todd?
man.
Yes.
I'm
Okay.
timing you.
Give me a minute because I do want to tell people, go to thelegendarium.com. You can find all of our links, all of our everything there, the Patreon, all that. Please go to thelegendarium.com if you want to donate on Patreon or join the Discord community, whatever the case may be. The other thing that I'll do is just let you know, I wanted to break it down for people who somehow missed this news. So I apologize for the 96% of those listening. They already know about all this. But for those who haven't heard about it, Brandon Sanderson came out in the last week and announced 4 secret novels that he has written since the beginning of the pandemic. So right now we're recording this in March of 2022. So we're roughly 2 years into the pandemic. He's written 4 secret novels. He also actually
And a graphic novel.
I knew about those, and we can get to why. I knew about the 4 secret novels. He actually sprung secrets on the people he had let in on the secret. There was another secret, which was, hey, I wrote another half a novel. You know, it's a full novel for anybody else, but for him, it's a half a novel. But he's like, yeah, maybe I'm going to do a graphic novel out of this. I'll pass it off to somebody else. But essentially 4.5 to 5 secret books that he dropped on the world in a very fun, cringy, I don't know, funny video.
It got a little... what's the TV commercials where they're selling you stuff, and then there's
Infomercial.
Fuzzy hair guy.
There's more.
There's more.
Got a little bit of that, and I was like, don't do that, Brandon. Don't
Although
do that.
I have to admit, I watched it while sitting out in my car all by myself waiting for my daughter, and when he dropped scripts 3, 4, and 5 on the table, I audibly laughed. It was so freaking funny.
So
I started laughing when he said, I have a secret and I can't live with it any longer. And I'm like, okay, whatever this is going to be.
1 in 5 men.
I'm on.
1 in 5 men.
So it has now reached the point, and we're recording this again. It's March 4th at 8:36 p.m. Now you might wonder why I'm getting so specific.
Time stamping.
The reason I'm getting so specific with this is because I'm about to tell you how much it's made, and then by the time people actually listen to this episode and they go check the Kickstarter, it will be stupid amounts more than this.
Oh, yeah.
But it's been live for, I want to say 3 days,
3 days.
now. It is up to, good heavens, the numbers are still climbing, $22.77 million on Kickstarter. So as of about 24 hours ago, it is the most successful, financially speaking at least, just in terms of sheer dollar amount, the most successful Kickstarter of all time.
And it's still open for 27 more days.
Yeah.
Which is good because I haven't even put in my order yet.
Yeah,
So-
me neither.
Me neither.
Glad.
Yeah, Ryan, did you?
Oh yeah, I was in realm of like $5 million, $4 million.
You were backer number
Ryan, see if you can
52.
come get cozier with me. Is that possible? Okay. All right.
We talked about this. Cuddle requests come before or after episodes, not during.
I just want you on camera, okay? You're a strapping young man.
Cuddling on camera is other
We
requirements.
need the sex appeal on this episode, okay?
Strapping man, at least.
If we need sex appeal, we need totally different people than us.
You're right. I just need to take my shirt off. That's fine. Okay, maybe
please
one day.
no.
Yeah, join Patreon. Maybe that'll be a $50 per episode Patreon tier.
Oh, wow.
I hope your wife has $50 a month.
You think she would pay that? You got another thing coming.
Per
Okay.
month? Come on.
So as I said, it's the most successful Kickstarter of all time now. Almost $23 million. I'm sitting here watching it climb.
In 3 days, and it just keeps ticking up. Yeah.
So yeah, it keeps ticking up. It's the way they've structured this. They've got the secret novels. That's the big draw, right? There are 4 novels. He is not going through the traditional like Tor or whatever other publishers he uses to publish these. It's going direct to his fans. So I don't know how he's going to print them. Maybe we can ask somebody about that sometime. But anyway, so yeah, this is direct to the fans. I've never seen an author do something. I mean, authors do this all the time, but I've never seen an author of this stature do something of this stature.
Yeah.
Has anybody else? Can you think of anything remotely like this?
It's certainly not of this scale. I mean, people have used Amazon to self-publish and such.
Yeah.
Which Brandon specifically said he didn't want to do. So.
Yeah, I for the kind of material that is being made available. I mean, these are not trade paperbacks. They're not hardbacks. They're the full-on beautiful stuff that we've gotten in other packages that he's done in conjunction with big publisher houses. So
yeah, to be clear, when we're talking about these books, this isn't the leather-bound stuff that they've done previously. They did a Kickstarter for Way of Kings leather-bound for various reasons. They had to do a Kickstarter on that one. It was wildly successful, but nowhere near what we're looking at here. And I'm really glad they did that too, and ask anybody on the Brandon team. I know I'm not speaking out of turn when I say that they had a lot of kinks to work out. And for anybody who is getting in on the Kickstarter now, be grateful that they did the Way of Kings Kickstarter first.
Yeah.
Where, what did it take? I want to say something like 12 or 14 months, maybe more, to get the final books out from the Way of Kings Kickstarter.
Oh, wow.
it was at least 12 months.
It was a lot of time.
Well, and there was multiple cycles because of the success they had where it was like, okay, everyone within this range is going to get this before Christmas. Everyone past this point who's backed it, you're going to get it next year, at the beginning of the next year. And
Well, and then things came at different times. It wasn't a package. It was, oh, this came. I got my books. Oh, then I got my coin. Then I got the stickers. Then I got, bits and it was a bits and pieces kind of a deal.
Yeah, I still have Way of Kings stuff kind of scattered around the studio from all those packages I got.
Yeah.
He came out a day after his announcement and said basically the 2 reasons that they're doing it this way is, one, to challenge his Dragonsteel team because they're putting stuff out every month. If you buy the big, the big full spread, you're getting something every month. So he's challenging them to create content, not just the books, but create giveaway boxes. And also he wants to basically create an insulation against something like Amazon, just in case, something happens. Amazon is seen as a fairly reliable self-publishing tool, but things change, and this will give him some reliable insurance against something like that.
I'm trying to think of what those eventualities might be. Like Brandon Sanderson gets canceled and Amazon takes his books off. I don't know.
Yeah. Or Vladimir Putin takes over Amazon. Who knows? But anything could happen, but this gives them some insurance against that, he said.
Okay.
So.
I will admit, I watched his preview video, the 1.5 minute, 2 minute, like I have a secret to get off my chest, tune in tomorrow. I watched that one, and then I watched the actual announcement video, and then the next day he did a reading from the first secret novel, and I kind of checked out. So if he said anything at that point...
Well, in between those, he did like 2 hours worth of Q&A while he was signing
Oh, okay.
signing
Yeah, I
stuff
missed
for a
that.
leather bound,
Okay.
which I never ever watched, but I was sucked right into that one. I'm like, 2 hours? Sure, I got 2 hours to kill.
Anyway,
I'm glad somebody did.
Oh man,
so what else was I going to say? Oh, yeah. So be grateful they worked out the kinks. Yes, the Dragonsteel team is going to be...
Bonkers.
Oh, I legit feel bad for them. Like, this is going to be a massive undertaking. I'm sure he's mentioned this on his
They sound
live
pretty
streams.
excited about it.
I don't catch tons of his live streams, but I watch a few, but I miss a lot of stuff. And so he's probably mentioned they used to run all of their books and merchandise out of the basement of the house. And then it outgrew that. So they've actually got a warehouse now, not far away. So they've got this giant warehouse where they're doing all this logistics stuff. And they're going to need every last square inch of it.
Yeah, they are.
And then some, I'm sure. So,
Well, part of the nice aspect of this is though that it is spread out over. If you do the full thing, it's over 12 months. You have the 4 books, 1 per quarter. So
and it doesn't even start till 2023. So
once they get the first quarter kind of set up and get the process down, like rotating stock, making that happen. Like it's not that they're going to take everything in right at the top and have to figure it out. So
Well, and you guys have you guys done subscription boxes with anything else before?
no, I don't know. No.
So I've done.
Generally, sorry, real quick, Todd. I did see when he was talking. I think it was in his announcement.
It was
video,
in his
he was talking
announcement
about
video, yeah.
subscription boxes, and I'm kind of with him that generally it's a scam. That's not to say they're all scams. I'm sure everybody has their favorite boxes, but they're a scam.
I've done over the last 5 years. I've done 3 different subscription box processes. I've done one for outside gear. I've done one for professional gear, and I've done one for clothing. And there's 2 things that were always really crazy about them. One was after about a year, you start repeating stuff. And so with Brandon saying, we're going to do this for a year, I'm thinking to myself, okay, that makes complete sense, because about that 12th to 13th month, I'm going to say, okay, what more is there that I'm supposed to be getting?
Yeah.
And the other thing that makes a difference with a subscription box service like this is that once the subscriber starts getting comfortable with what's going on with it, then your expectation changes. So I'm sure that there's going to be tremendous latitude given for that first quarter, and then people are going to start stepping up the expectations based on what happens.
Right. Well, the other thing about generic subscription boxes, quasi subscription boxes, the other thing that makes them often a scam is that you get a company that, like clothing companies are notorious for this, where they have their online store, they're selling stuff, and then, hey, why don't you sign up for our subscription box? If you like our stuff, you get it in the mail every month. Great. But then the subscription box turns into the clearance crap that nobody wanted. They didn't buy it on the website, so I'll just send you whatever. Whatever was left in our warehouse here. They send it to the subscription box people. That's what so often that's what they are.
Yeah.
And so that is not going to be the case here, where it's now, this is the product, this is what we're selling. You're not going to be able to buy it on the site. It's only through this. So that makes a little more sense that way.
it sounds like they're creating content for the boxes. It's not going to be just stuff that you've seen someplace else or at Dragon Con, Steel Con or anything like that. They're creating content, which is awesome.
Yeah,
Well, they have a really strong network of artists and people who work on Dragonsteel stuff. So I wouldn't be surprised to see plenty of art pieces, a few number of clothing items, things like that. I don't want to collect a bunch of knickknacks that are going to get dust, so that's why I'm not doing the boxes on this one. But if some of those items end up at Dragonsteel Con in November type thing, I will probably pick them up there on the individual basis if I like them enough. But yeah, not enough to want to spend the extra $240.
Or when some enterprising fan creates Dragonsteel Bay, and I can, bid on them at auction.
Pick them up after they've been used a little bit.
Exactly.
Yeah. This one has been flipped 375,000 times.
Whatever,
So-
I'll take it.
Should we talk about the books themselves and what we know about them and how excited you guys are for them based on what you know? Todd, you shrugged like you don't care, so I'm going to you first.
No, not that I don't care. That this last week, for me, timing for him to release any information was stupid. And the reason for me,
I want you to put that in writing, and I'm going to send that to him.
For me, the timing was stupid because earlier today I finally finished chapter 3 of my doctoral proposal dissertation draft.
Yeah.
That sucks every ounce of brain power and time and frustration that I have. So when I looked at the video, I said, that is something that I'm absolutely going to need to spend more time with. And then I looked at all of the publication levels and I said, that is something I am absolutely going to have to talk my wife into making sure that we understand that I'm going to do this next week because I had no time. And then we said, hey, let's get together and record on Friday night. I'm like, great, I'll come over and record on Friday night. I have had zero time to invest significantly in this. So that's why I shrugged my shoulders. I'm like, I'm going to love listening to you guys talk about it because for me, I am blank slate at this point in time, except that I know that there are the 4 books. I know that they're going to be unique and not available anyplace else. And I heard a little bit of it that we were talking about earlier about the first one being first 5 chapters have already been released and stuff like that.
Todd, that was a really good speech. Ken, you want to talk about the books?
Yeah, I'm excited about the books.
Told you.
I'll give you a synopsis of the video that you're going to watch next week. So 3 of the 4 books are cosmere related. One is completely unrelated to the cosmere, he said, and I think it's book 2. Based from what I've pieced together of what he said in other stuff. I am very excited about book number 4 because it's supposed to be very heavily cosmere related, meaning you want to be up to speed before you read book 4. Plus, there's going to be like 2 other cosmere books that come out before that.
Yeah,
so give me 2 years is what you're saying.
Well, it's not even coming out until December of, or until August of.
So I think that is a really smart order. So he comes out with book number 1. That is a cosmere book.
Yep.
And that one is he's coming out of the gate strong. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I should probably reveal that I beta read for Brandon now. It's not something I
beta read for
talk
Brandon
a ton about, but yes, I do beta read for.
But the tattoo is visible.
I've never heard that before.
That's right. No, so I do have some inkling of what's coming down the pike for you guys, and I'm very excited. Back to my original point, which is that the order is really interesting because he's coming out of the gate really strong with book 1. People are going to lose their ever-loving minds with that one, and then book number 2 is the non-cosmere book, which makes a lot of sense in the order for me, where it's people aren't going to. They're not going to go as crazy. That I am. It doesn't matter. People are still going to love book 2.
I'm excited to read book 2 because it's not cosmere.
I'm trying very hard here, Todd. Okay, I'm trying very hard.
It doesn't have the word cosmere attached to it, so there's automatically a different feel for it.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So and then books 3 and 4.
And there's a
it's
different
like
appetite for it.
You leave people really excited by finishing out with the cosmere. Like you said, Ken, book 4. People are talking about how that one's going to really. The floodgates have already been opened with
that one's going to be.
Well,
book 3 is Ryan. Book 3 is the one he wrote for his wife. So I'm kind of excited to see that, and he's said that that's his favorite one of the 4. Which I mean, if he wrote it for his wife, that makes sense to me. So
cool.
So I'll be interested to read that.
Don't remember what the timeline is, but I would like to see what the rest of the publishing timeline schedule is, because one of the things that this does though is it creates a year of content for Sanderson fans to read.
And Sanderson podcasts.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. I think, by the way...
So hang on, Ken. Let him finish his point.
Okay.
I interrupted. Now you can't interrupt my interruption.
I want to tangent.
You can't triple stamp a double stamp, Lloyd.
I don't remember what the release date of Stormlight 5 is, but my inkling was it would be after this.
Yeah.
So you finish this round of Cosmere stuff, you get all this buildup, all these things happening, and then you drop one of the major pillar keystone Cosmere stories in the whole piece. So I think it's very wise. These weren't in the plan, I'm sure. Like he says, they were just things he wrote with the extra time. But to do a year...
How would it be?
Sorry, come real quick.
Okay.
Did you want to finish your point before I jump in?
I'm just saying that to give a year of content like this helps the fans get to this major milestone without that, chomping at the bit. Like, when is it ready? When are we going to get it? Like, we already know it's like November of 2024 or something like that.
Right. So what I was going to say, you said it wasn't planned that way. He's just kind of writing the books he wanted to write. Yeah, kind of. It's a bit like when people. So I've got videos on YouTube about here's this aspect of Tolkien's books, and let's dive into that. And every time I do, and every time I talk about symbolism or something, there's people in the comments like, "Well, Tolkien hated allegory, right? Don't you? You read that, right? He hated allegory." And I'm like, oh gosh, yeah, sure. He said he cordially dislikes allegory, but he used it all the freaking time. Okay, can we? So anyway, my point being, Brandon might say, hey, it was unplanned. It's just kind of like, this is kind of what he knew exactly what he was doing. He knew exactly where this would fit and why this was the right time to release it in the cosmere. Okay. And so it's the Brandon doth protest too much.
Yeah. So, all right. That's fine. I'd
buy that.
Anyway, that's all. Brandon, I'm calling you out on your game. I see through you.
Wow.
That's deep.
Remember
that's
when
deep
Craig
stuff.
was a beta reader?
Yeah. He's going to have a tough time getting the tattoo removed. That's for sure.
Okay. So, I as far as the books, Ryan, anything else you want to say on those? For obvious reasons, I'm going to stay fairly tight-lipped about them. But.
Yeah. No, one of the things about this that I've appreciated is he took the time to basically give each reader the experience they want in terms of coming to the books by saying, I'm not going to release things like titles. All this. If you want access to that, it's going to be here. It will get spoiled like crazy for people as soon as, it's like, oh, we now know the title of the first one. The first 5 chapters have been out. Yep. So if you don't want to know, it's going to take work to not know if you're in any sort of Cosmere Facebook group or anything like that.
Yeah, it's going to be serious disconnecting because Brandon said he's not going to go out of his way to drop spoilers or the Dragonsteel team are going to go out of their way to avoid spoiling things, but it's going to happen.
Everybody else will.
But everybody else will squeal with delight as they...
Let me ask you this, spoiler-wise. Ryan, I'll direct this question at you. No, Todd, I'm going to direct this question at you.
Oh, wow.
What do you think is... Let's take a Stormlight book as our example here.
Okay.
What is the spoiler time limit? Granted, you don't want to ever go out of your way to spoil something, even if it's 10 years later.
Sure.
But how long should people be able to expect not to run into spoilers willy-nilly on the internet with a Stormlight book?
For a Stormlight book, 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
2 weeks from the date of publication. Wow. If you are passionate about the book enough that you're trying to keep yourself unspoilt and pure in order to have the full experience, let's give you 2 weeks. Let's give you 2 weeks of people not dropping huge things. Huh. If it's a movie, I think your time frame changes to about 5 days tops.
Wow. Ryan, thoughts?
I would disagree with that. What the reality is and what it should be, I think because it is a book, the timeline on that should be at least a month before you consider posting any sort of spoiler, because it gives people time to read from release. Like, not everyone is going to sit down and devour, especially a Stormlight book, in a 3-day period or a 2-day period like that.
Or a 2-week period.
That's why I give 14 days.
Yeah.
14 is plenty. So, put your life on hold. That's what I do. Put my life on hold. All of the material that I use, it instantly becomes Way of Kings, and people... In fact, my children know when one of those books drops that if they get in the car, they're picking up in the middle of the book, and that's the best that they've got. And I continue to look at them and say things like, shh, shh, shh. But Dad, we missed the... shh, shh. I'll get there. Because that's how it works.
I was going to say for a doorstopper like Rhythm of War or something, it's 3 to 6 months.
I was going to go 12.
But yeah.
A year?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm not talking about like this is how long you can't talk about the book with other people. Right. I'm just talking about like, you probably don't mention that, Darth Vader is Luke Skywalker's father for the next year online.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
Does that make sense?
I would say it depends on where you're talking. Like,
well, yeah, obviously, yeah. I
mean,
that's
your environment matters.
I guess I'm thinking of like Twitter or Facebook or kind of those broad places.
I'll buy that.
If you're going to go on to like if you're like most of us and have a Twitter following of maybe 3 numbers on there, just maybe don't use just don't use like hashtags that are going to bring it into the main
Like
Yeah.
hashtag Sanderson spoiler.
Well, if you're using a spoiler tag, that's different.
Anyway,
but then just don't do the stupid things.
So the reason I brought up this question in the first place is, does the calculus change when we have 4 books coming out at regular intervals throughout a year? Is this something that we feel like we should expect people to keep up? If you're interested in the cosmere, you're expected to
totally
keep up.
think you should.
I feel like
and like once by the time the next book comes out, all bets are off as far as spoilers for the last one.
I feel
Absolutely.
like given the size of these books and the appetite of the person who will likely be trying to avoid spoilers, the 3 months in between books is enough time to limit your spoilers.
But let me ask this question: these books are these books typical Brandon Sanderson,
400
large enough that
No,
you can
these are-
hurt people, or are they slightly smaller?
These are on average about 100,000, 110,000 words.
See,
400 pages.
Yeah.
I think we're good with. I think we're good with 2 weeks.
I will say, I will reveal this from when I was beta reading one of these books, that first one. So he comes out with this announcement: "Hey, I've got 4 secret books. You know, don't tell any." This was months ago. Don't tell anybody. Don't breathe a word. Don't even dream about them. You know, kind of that kind of thing. Or you'll be NDA'd into oblivion. And so he tells us this, and I'm like, wow, 4. Wow, okay. So these must be novellas, and so I got the first one, and I'm like, all right, well, I guess I'll get started with it. And I'm about, I don't know, 25, 30 pages in, and I'm like, I haven't made a dent in this. And so I started scrolling down. I'm like, oh my, oh no, this is a book. This is a book. And I'm scrolling and I'm scrolling and I'm scrolling. It was, so no, this is not Rhythm of War, but it is also not, the Babysitter's Club or something. This is a full-fledged novel.
I would have gone with like Emperor's Soul or one of his other novellas, but Babysitter's Club, Hardy Boys, Nancy Drew, whatever.
This is not
Goosebumps.
Yeah.
So, all right. So, yeah, that's, again, I'm trying to be cagey.
In case you're curious, I
but-
think he said the shortest one is about 65,000 words and the longest one is somewhere closer to 110.
Okay.
So-
yeah, that tracks.
2 weeks.
So the
Todd.
3 months in between should be more than enough spoiler time for anybody who is truly interested in avoiding spoilers.
Yeah.
But by the same token, I think the question that you're asking is, at least from my standpoint, when do I put myself on that kind of a process? When do I expect others to put themselves on that kind of a process? As far as I'm concerned, the internet I avoid the internet as soon as something that I'm passionate about has been released until I'm done with it. Like the new Batman movie, I am off Facebook for a little while. I love my friends. I try to send birthday notifications. I don't have to get caught up because until I see the movie, I don't want people doing that. And right now, our culture is one of, as soon as I have a secret to share, Craig, you are such a wonderful human being because you've had the secret to share for months and you've sat on it. Most of the rest of the population, I got a secret and I can't tell, but I'm going to tell you right now, Injun Joe's ticklish. And that, do you remember that cartoon?
I'm sorry, what?
Do you remember that cartoon? That was it. Never mind. You guys are too young.
Should we,
No, it's
should we kick him out?
It's
or-
an old thing, okay?
I mean, so are you. So.
That's my point.
Tom Sawyer. We remember I know where the story comes from.
Oh, no. That's the... Never mind.
No, you're thinking of Rush. That's today's Tom Sawyer.
No,
He's thinking
no.
of yesterday's Tom Sawyer.
Oh, man.
The only reference I have for the use of the
hate
phrase
you so
Injun
much
Joe
right now.
is
Come on, that was
Tom
good.
Sawyer.
That was good.
It was well played.
Rush's Tom Sawyer was
I'm really
yesterday's
thrilled that
Tom
you
Sawyer.
referenced Rush, so I'll take that.
Oh boy. So what were we talking about?
I
Something
have
about
no
Brandon
idea.
somebody? I don't.
Brandon
Yeah.
Sanderson stuff.
Track back to the main path.
Brandon Neil Peart Sanderson. Okay.
That would be an interesting combo. Neil Peart writing music for Brandon. That would be awesome.
Okay.
Sorry, I'll be back when we get back somewhere I know what to talk about.
Yeah.
Yeah, never mind. Okay.
Bottom line, I'm excited about these novels.
So where were we? Todd, what were you talking about?
Just about the fact that in the internet culture that we have today, the majority of people feel like as soon as they know something, it is their privilege to be able to spoil it for everyone else.
Todd, I was going to ask you on a date. Let's go on a date night tomorrow. Batman. Okay, we're going to go see Batman tomorrow. Okay.
called a mandate.
Nobody else is invited because it's date night. So.
I might be able to pull that off.
Ryan, you've seen
Are you
that
buying
one,
the
right?
popcorn?
I did. I saw the Batman earlier today.
Okay, well, maybe we'll talk about that one later, but not yet. So, what else? What else do we want to talk about with this? Should we talk about just how immense this Brandon Sanderson's following seems to be? This is something that I am kind of marveling at. There is, people talk about, book sales. Who's the most popular fantasy, sci-fi, whatever author out there? And for a few years now, I've been like, Brandon Sanderson is pretty big. He's pretty popular. And, but then you point to book sales and you're like, well, no, it's J.K. Rowling. And I'm like, well, that's kind of a different league.
It's a different animal.
It's a different animal. People talk about George Martin. And I'm like, right, when the TV show was out, but now I'm not so sure. And so what I'm getting at is right now, oh my goodness, it's still going up. Now we're at 22.8 million. We're at very nearly 95,000 backers to this giant Kickstarter. Name for me another author who could do that.
I'm not even sure George Martin could do that because
I don't believe he.
I think he could probably do it.
If he said Winds of Winter, give me $200, and if 90,000 people give me $200, I'll give you Winds of Winter.
Let me amend it. I think he could do it based on quantity of following, but on rabid quality of following, I'm not sure that he could. I think that Brandon, pound for pound, probably has the most rabid, devoted following of any author, any fantasy author. I don't know if I have to couch that at all, but the people that read Brandon's stuff are fanatical about all the stuff that is not even cosmere related, that is Dragonsteel related.
I'm going to start calling Kenn Kettle.
Yeah.
What?
Not calling the kettle black.
You are these people, Kenn.
I'm not exactly. I mean,
Ken.
You are these people.
Ken,
They're
you are
here.
these
I'm
people.
like here.
Ken.
I mean,
You went to Dragonsteel Con.
Only 'cause you
sat
paid
in a
for it.
booth.
it's because
You
you paid
bought
for
things.
it.
You go
paid
ahead and
for
got
it.
things signed.
Ken, stop while you're behind. Stop while you're behind.
What?
Just
Okay,
stop.
No,
Just stop.
but Ken, I think I agree with you.
But I didn't dress
Ryan,
up.
what do you think? Do you think
That's
anybody,
true. You didn't dress up.
Do you think anybody else could do this? If George Martin said, I'm going to kickstart Winds of Winter, do you think he would pass 100,000 backers within 3 or 4 days?
It would all depend on how that was, because if it was Winds of Winter and there were specific things like you'll have a date that here's when you're going to get it, you're going to get a special edition copy. Like, I think that there could be enough people who would rush to do that it would be, he could get a similar following. Monetarily, no, I don't think it's the same, because you're not going to do Winds of Winter for $260.
Right.
Like, you're going to say even a premium leatherback edition, whatever that.
Right.
Something like that. You're looking at that. But in terms of number of backers, size of fan base, yeah, Martin, I think he could do something like this. He wouldn't.
Let me put it this way. The way that I'm kind of. Oh, I'm sorry, Todd. Did you have something to share?
Yeah, on this one I actually have something to share.
Okay, yeah, no, please go. Okay, and then I'll get to my point if I can remember what it was.
I think the part of the question needs to also be how many of these other authors already have the kind of following that Brandon has online. Brandon has his Writing Excuses podcast. He has regular
YouTube channel.
He has regular pieces that he's releasing on a regular basis throughout social media. Do the other authors that we're thinking about have those? I don't think they do. And so the ability to get the hype and the attention in that period of time, I think that's partly because of his social media presence.
Yeah, that's okay. Thank you, Todd, for sharing, because that actually segues pretty nicely into what I was going to say. So that's
Wait a
perfect.
minute, we're thinking the same?
Wow.
That's a little frightening.
Once
No
again,
wonder they're
yeah.
going on that mandate.
You're excused. All right. So what I
Popcorn?
was going to say is I don't think anybody could do it in this order.
No.
So if George Martin or Pat Rothfuss came out and said, "Hey, I'm going to do a Kickstarter for book 3 of what's that thing called? Name of the Wind, Kingkiller Chronicles."
Yeah, Doors of Stone.
Doors of Stone. Thank you. So he comes out and says, "I'm going to do Doors of Stone. I'm going to do a Kickstarter." There would be a lot of people that would sign up immediately, but it would be the media jumping on the bandwagon because because those two names especially, and there are a few others in that list as well, I think, but those two names especially have a lot of media clout within and without the industry. So if those names got on, then the media would hop on, and then people would hear about it, and it would gain traction in that way, and it could make as much of a dent as we're seeing with the Sanderson. What I don't think they could do is what Sanderson is doing, which is kind of self-generating that. The media only hopped on board with this after they were like, wait, he raised how much in a day? Mm-hmm. He raised how much in 2 days? And then they wrote their pieces on it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I don't think anybody could do it in the order that Brandon did.
That was kind of where I was going with that too, yeah.
Could anyone, now we've said originally, could any author do this? Could Kevin Feige do this with anything Marvel related? Could Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni do this with Star Wars?
Different medium, absolutely, yes.
Yeah, yes. So at the time, I don't think it was, maybe it was the most successful, but it was at least one of the most successful Kickstarters at the time. We're going back like 5, 6, 7 years, something like that, was the Veronica Mars movie.
Oh yeah. I remember that.
So I was a big time Marshmallow back in the day. That's what they called their fans of the Veronica Mars show. I loved that movie, or loved the series, and so I was all over the movie. And so with the way the landscape is now, I think if Dave Filoni and what did we say? Jon Favreau
and Jon Favreau,
if they got on and said, "Hey, Disney dropped this show, but we want to make a spin-off of this." I mean, obviously you couldn't get the licensing, but I'm just saying, in a fantastical world, yes, you could get that kind of.
It would be a little bit different. I can actually give you an example of another project that is similar to this. The Legend of Vox Machina.
Oh, okay. Sure.
Critical Role, that group, they Kickstarter to turn it into an animated series on Kickstarter, raised $11.38 million to make this happen. 88,000 backers.
So that's pretty close to the 95 I'm looking at.
So you're looking at that sort of setup. So there are groups that could absolutely do that. Large studios, I think, would be laughed out for using Kickstarter that way. But I actually think there was an author who I think could have done this, but I don't know could do it now.
And that was Edgar Allan Poe.
J.K. Rowling.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, she definitely couldn't do it now.
Now I think it would be harder. There's still a large enough fan base that I think in 3 days, no. But if she were to...
although, I don't know, because that one's so international. I don't know about Brandon's reach overseas. But
if she had said at the end of the Deathly Hallows, by the way, here's one more book.
There's things like, I'm just because of her fan base. I'm basing this entirely on fan base, not on quality of author or anything else. It's just the fan base for Harry Potter is strong enough and cares enough that if the author had come out before all the issues she's been dealing with now, then I think she could have done something like this.
Which makes me it just makes me hope that Brandon Sanderson never gets that big. Because do you guys remember how annoying it was has been for the last 5 to 6 years that every political dispute had to be funneled through the lens of Harry Potter? Because that's all that our generation understands. This politician is Voldemort. That politician is Voldemort. Well, I'm like Ron because I voted for this guy, and oh man, it drove me crazy.
Did I miss that? Did you miss that?
Do you not see...
Todd, you were going to school and stuff.
Do you not see literally everybody calling out their Hogwarts houses? I mean, everyone knows what house they're sorted into. It's ridiculous.
Todd, what house are you?
Hufflepuff. Ravenclaw.
Oh, he's Hufflepuff.
I'm Ravenclaw.
No.
Ravenclaw.
Totally Ravenclaw.
If I was your sorting hat...
Okay, let's not go there.
Here, come here. Let me sit on your head.
Yeah, no, that's not going to happen.
I would say
for $50.
That's a tomorrow night thing.
In this room, we've got 3 Ravenclaws and a Gryffindor. Is that the case?
You're Gryffindor?
No.
No, you're 100% Gryffindor.
No.
Yeah,
no, he's not.
You saying I'm the Gryffindor?
You're dumb. You're dumb and stupid.
You might be Slytherin.
I always like to say I'm Gryffindor with Slytherin-like tendencies.
Yeah. I was like, either way on that. Yeah, I love how we've really segued this into this, but
yeah. See, this is why Joe Rowling could do it.
But we're very comfortable that there are no Hufflepuffs in this room.
Oh, that's because Megan's not here.
Okay, funny tangent.
Megan is Slytherin.
Oh, that's true.
That
No,
is,
that's
Slytherin.
she is Slytherin, and she's proud of it. So
Todd, you are Hufflepuff.
I am not a Hufflepuff.
Fun
And
tangent.
that's okay. What's wrong with Hufflepuff?
Fun tangent.
I'm
I
not
have
a Ra- I'm
I have
not- I'm
4
a
kids, and they
Ravenclaw.
all sorted into different houses.
Oh.
Yeah.
Are they all yours?
Yeah. They're all mine. At least they're all Jolene's.
Wow.
It was the only place I could take that.
Okay. So apparently we
Sorry.
have
All
nothing
of your
left.
children are wonderful. There are no bastards. You're great.
Although
Talking about spoilers.
the one we weren't sure about. I wasn't there for his delivery. I'm just saying.
Oh man. Were you there? Never mind. Okay.
Jolene doesn't listen to this. I'm safe.
So, do we have anything left to say about the Brandon Sanderson stuff? All right.
Did we want to segue to the other Brandon
It's the fact
Sanderson
that
thing?
it's the fact that Brandon connects with his fans that makes him so. That drives this as a possibility.
And God bless him for it.
All of his fans
Yeah.
feel like they know him.
I have one more question. I know we talked about maybe getting into Evershore a little bit, which is going to be probably a fairly short discussion.
Yeah,
I'll be honest.
Yeah.
But I
That was
have
a short book.
Not if we turn Todd loose on it.
I have a question prediction challenge for everyone here. Where does this land?
Oh, money wise, after 30 days?
After 30 days, what is the final total?
Excellent question.
Oh, geez.
Ken, Todd?
I should write
Okay.
this down so we
right.
can...
Oh, yeah, please do. So,
we
right
can-
now, we are at 22.838
Okay, and
million dollars.
in the last 24 hours, it's gone up by 2.8 million.
Something like that. Yeah, pretty close.
Okay. So in the first 2 days, he tops $20 million. In the next day, he does an additional 10%.
Right.
So I'm putting my money at 34.8 million.
Wow. Okay. Ken?
I was going to say, I think it slows down here in the middle and gets a feverish push from people like us at the end. And probably, I bet he tops 50 million.
Wow.
Okay. My guess, since Ryan's writing them down, he'll be the last one to guess. My guess, if we're at, call it 23 right now, I think we top out at $26.5 million.
Okay. And I was going to say, I think we will come just shy of 30 million. I think it'll be about 28.7 is where I'll drop.
28.7? Okay, you write it down. Now, are we, I feel like there needs to be something at stake here. Okay, what are we playing for? Are we bowling for burgers, or is this...
Ooh, I like that idea.
Oh, you know what? Okay, here's what we're going to do.
Closest to without going over.
No, here's...
$1.
Hang on. Let's talk about what's at stake first. We're all going to go bowling because
Okay.
I said bowling for burgers as a joke, but then I was like, you know what? That sounds fun. Let's go bowling.
Cool.
Okay, so as a group, we're going to go bowling, and whoever is the furthest has to pay.
Okay.
Okay?
I'm in.
For 4 people to go bowling.
You want to redo your guess, Ken?
No.
Okay, so Ken, thanks for that.
I'm confident in my
All right.
23
And I think
million
I say we don't go prices right rules. It's not closest without going over. It's just whoever is closest.
I'm just saying
In
$23
either
million
direction.
in 3 days, and he's got 27 more days to get another half of that.
I get you.
Plus, I think he's got to push at the end.
You know
so-
what? Just for Brandon's sake, and and for the sake of the sweet filthy lucre, I hope you're right.
Okay.
But I don't think you are. I think it's
That's fine. That's fine. I honor this gentleman's agreement. I'll pay for bowling
and
burgers.
the winner. So you pay for bowling, and then the winner has to actually buy everybody's burgers at the bowling alley.
So what are you winning?
You're winning bragging rights.
So you want to be second or
bragging,
third is what you're
bragging
saying.
rights and vainglory.
That's right.
That's what you're after.
You win the chance to feel good about buying horrible, greasy, bowling alley food
fine.
for
We
everybody
we
else.
could probably find somebody that could make 2 T-shirts. One of them that says "I bought burgers because I'm right," and the other one can say "I
bought
paid
bowling."
for bowling because I'm wrong."
All right, so
You
should
want
we
to be
talk
nestled
about
in the comfortable
guys?
center there.
Should we talk about a little Evershore? And by we, I mean somebody else because I haven't read it.
Sure.
A very
So-
little.
A little.
So for those still listening, for all 6 of you, you may want to forward this to anybody who's a big fan of the Skyward series. That's what we're talking about here. Skyward has 3. Well, I don't. The Cytoverse is what it's called.
Cytoverse,
It
yeah.
has 3 novels out now. and three and
a half
novellas that came along with them. You guys have talked about the novellas and the books, or the novels, I guess we should call them, on the podcast before. I'm not caught up, but I don't give the single rear end of a rat about spoilers. So I'm just going to turn it over to you guys and say, but I did want to put it out there. We're talking about everything that has come out in the Cytoverse up to this point. So if you're not caught up and you care about spoilers, then heads up. Okay, go.
If we're heading into Evershore, I'm not going to be much help for Evershore. I haven't had a chance to capture that one either. But I do think that I've been reading the new EU Thrawn.
Yeah. We need to talk about that one later.
Yeah, so in terms of Evershore, but the thing is all the novellas up to this point, my only thing, we've talked about the first two, I have decided these novellas are required reading for Cytoverse if you want to truly enjoy the Cytoverse, because the latest installment of, what's her name? Spence's story leaves so much untouched in the other part of the world that if you don't read this, you're going to come back in and go, wait, what happened?
Yeah.
And
you're talking about the main three novels.
Yeah.
Don't fill it out enough.
If you only read the main three novels, you will come back into the story after 3. And unless Brandon spends a significant time, or I guess it doesn't have to be significant, unless he spends time with a character letting you know everything that happened in the novellas, then you're going to be, what in the world just happened? Because Spencer had that moment at the end of the story anyway. Like, wait a minute, how are you an admiral type thing?
Yeah. I think for me, I agree the idea that this is going to make the rest of the story much easier if you've read these. I also think that Brandon could easily throw together an exposition piece that says, where somebody kind of walks through the high points. The thing that I think would be hard is helping people understand all of the pieces that we started to learn in Evershore about the different types of Cytoverse powers that are available.
Of cytonic powers, yeah.
So that's the piece that, that was one piece that I got out of this novel that I really enjoyed. But the other one that I enjoyed probably more than I want to admit is how, names are hard.
Cobb?
Not Cobb. Spence's boyfriend.
Jorgen?
Jorgen. Jerkface. I
here?
wanted to keep saying jerkface, and that just seems so rude. Jerkface.
He embraces it now.
All of the way that Jerkface's little rat mentor keeps trying to help him develop his power.
His little master
completely
Shifu.
relaxed. Yeah. Every time that came up, I was like, yeah, I know people like this.
It's one part human ally roundup, and one part Kung Fu Jorgen, where he's got Master Shifu to teach him now how to, the way of the cytonic panda, and how to use his powers to do way more than Spencer can do. I mean, all of a sudden, there's two chosen ones. It's like,
yeah, the idea that because different cytonic powers normally manifest in different individuals, and that no one individual has had all the powers that they have to pull together, they're going to have to use each other.
They can. I think it was mentioned in one of the novellas or one of the books that
we know that they will.
Sunreach. Yeah, cytonics can learn other. I mean,
and we know that
it's just like exercise. Like you can gain another skill. You might not be as good at it as this skill, but you can.
It won't come as naturally.
No.
It won't come as easily.
Unless you're Jorgen, and then you can learn them all and be amazing. Except he probably can't travel through space.
He can't
as well as Spencer, but he can move planets.
It's important though, because of how the people on this side that are in the novellas had to progress.
Yeah.
Yes.
They had to progress. They had to develop, because otherwise Spencer comes back and we spend an entire book just trying to bring people up to speed, because she's been training along the way too. And we don't want to derail the momentum of this story that much by having Spencer have to come back and start her Spencer's Academy for Gifted, cytonics,
right,
and have to start teaching everybody. So this way it brings them up there. But again, unless you have already read that, you don't know that their skill level has gone up to that. I really enjoyed the first two novellas. I think of the two of them, I think Sunreach was probably my favorite out of them. If you haven't read any of them, you follow. That's the first time we follow a non-human. we move into the character that appeared, that Spencer Alanique. That
you're talking about Read On.
Oh, Read On. That's what I'm thinking of. Sorry, Read On. That's what I meant. But we follow her story, and it was the first time we got a different view. Someone who had more knowledge than the humans had. We got a bigger world to work with, and now in the third Cytonic book of Spencer's, we kind of got a chance to do that. So I was glad that I had read them before I got into the third book with Spencer, because I had reference points for things going on that made more sense than I think someone who just read the Spencer series.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
I absolutely agree with that. And I like that. Hopefully it means we can just hit book 4, running, and he'll just expect people to catch up. If you get into book 4 and you're lost and you're looking for exposition, trudge back and read these 3 novellas, but we're going to keep on going. That's my hope. We'll see what happens. But
so these books were co-authored by Brandon.
Yes.
They're Brandon's ideas, but they've been, but another person has done a lot of the heavy lifting. Did you notice a difference between, was the difference between the writing styles noticeable enough that it was distracting?
No.
Okay.
Not really.
Because I was a little disappointed.
Good talk.
Really?
Todd
was disappointed though, so I was
a little disappointed. I recognize that there are some hallmark pieces of the way that Brandon has described combat, and also the way that he has described some of the human emotional issues, that this one felt glossed over. I don't know whether that's because it's the different writer, or because they decided that they were going to treat them with kid gloves because this is a young adult series. I think either one is possible.
Well, and also the fact that these are novellas.
Novellas, that's what I was going to say. I think it's one part young adult feeling and one part novella. So they just don't have time to get into the depth.
Well, I think there were opportunities too. They touch on some pretty heavy stuff, but they do it very quickly, and they treat it with kid gloves a little bit. And so
let me ask you guys a question. Yep. I am not caught up on the Cytoverse. I read the first 2 books. I haven't gotten to any of the rest of it yet. I will. I liked them fine. I no problem with them. So, but let me ask you this. I know that Brandon and his team were expecting and hoping that the Cytoverse would be the new Hunger Games, the new kind of YA sensation. Written with that in mind, hoping that this would really take off in the way that those did. And they were a bit disappointed that it didn't make it to that level. I know all this secondhand. I haven't talked to anybody there about it. But my question for you is, do these books deserve a place among that canon, even if they don't have it? Or do you feel like, these don't quite capture the magic that maybe Suzanne Collins did for 2 books? You know what I mean?
You're not wrong.
But does the question make sense? Do they deserve a place in that YA canon, even if they don't have that place?
I don't think necessarily that they deserve to be hailed that spectacularly, but also I think that they deserve to be on the same level as the Hunger Games, in that I don't think Hunger Games deserves to be that widely hailed either. So.
Yet.
Here's the thing. I don't think that it, in terms of deserve and merit, no, I don't really know what rubric I would hold to put on that, to be like, what did Hunger Games have that this doesn't have?
That's why I asked it the way I did, because you can interpret that however you want. Like, what does deserve mean? I don't know.
But
it's up to you.
I would say that having it in that same pantheon would not raise a lot of eyebrows. Like, I don't think people would be like, what is this doing with Hunger Games? What is this doing with the Maze Runner series or anything like that? Or, why is this here? No one's going to have that problem if they've read it. But it doesn't have the acclaim partially because it hasn't had a media presence outside of the books either.
Right. I think that for me,
can I throw out there real quick that it's also because they don't take place on Earth, and as soon as you take a story off of Earth, you just naturally alienate a certain segment of readers who are going to be like, I don't know what's going on here. I don't know where that is. I don't understand.
Could possibly be, but I don't think Hunger Games was Hunger Games until the movies came out, though. The books weren't.
You're wrong, but okay.
It had to have been enough to be picked up by a studio.
Yes.
And to get where it was going. And it was like I remember the drive of people to read the Hunger Games and talking about it and everything, and hearing about people trying to explain it and going, this is weird. This is
there was a lot of buzz. You're right. That is true. There is not enough darkness in this story to appease that what Hunger Games has. There's that little bit of darkness that Hunger Games carries in terms of kids killing each other set up. There's not enough dystopia.
There's enough dystopia, but there's not enough, I don't want to use the term grim dark because it's not accurate for this, but there's not enough of that.
Grimness or darkness.
Yeah.
Yes.
Either of those are there that draws people in to have that discussion. So there's another series, I'll just briefly mention it here, and it's called Scythe.
Okay.
It has a very, very dark concept to it. And the readers who have gotten into it seem to really, really love the series. It has the feeling in my mind of what could be a new Hunger Games setup if it could get a little more traction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Todd, you've been itching to say something for a couple minutes.
I wanted to make sure that when that you guys understand when I say yet, I think some of that is going to be resultant on how he concludes the Cytoverse series. I think that there is an opportunity for Brandon to finish this strong enough that it could eclipse the Hunger Games series for the way that it pulls everything together. Because the Hunger Games, again, the first two were really good, and the next one falls apart. The Divergent series, a lot of attention to the first couple, and then the last one falls apart. So I think that if he has the ability to fix what the other ones did not successfully do, which is finish the story strong, I think he's got a possibility that it could eclipse those.
All right. Well, anything else you guys want to say about what's it called?
Evershore or the Cytoverse?
I think it's worth reading.
Yeah,
definitely read it.
Yeah, I think it's worth reading.
All right,
and go read Defending Elysium too.
That's another Cytoverse thing.
It's the prequel that he wrote even before Skyward came out.
Oh, okay.
So, but it takes place in the same universe.
Cool.
So go read it.
I liked the first two books. I just didn't like them enough to shift into rabid mode and I got to read the next thing. But yeah, I'll definitely get to them.
Yeah.
So, cool. Well, shall we call it there? Feeling good?
Yep.
Yeah. All right. Well, I hope everybody's excited for the year of Sanderson. Unfortunately, not TM.
I was gonna say, can we sue for copy or trademark infringement?
No, it's too late. And I think we have a hard time trademarking his name on our podcast.
And it doesn't start until next year.
Yeah.
No, but it'll be it'll be a year of Sanderson, not just for the Sanderson folks and not just for the readers, but for us as well. I'm sure we're going to be doing a lot of Brandon Sanderson stuff next year. So I hope people are looking forward to that. Make sure you go to thelegendarium.com, support the show, check out the archives, go to Discord. We had a bunch of new signups on Discord in the last week or two, especially with the Silmarillion series that we're doing right now. A lot of new Discord people, and not one of them so far has been anything approaching a jerk. So far we're batting 1,000 on Discord. Wow. I love our Discord community. Thank you everybody for your participation there. I really appreciate it. So Kenn, Todd, Ryan, I will see you guys next time.
Always a pleasure.
All right. Have a good one.